So fun fact about your TMNT guy, my favorite non-turtle mutant of all time is Leatherhead. When it comes to all of Leatherhead's figures, you really only got two design choices, one between the original comic design and one between the vintage toy design. So let's figure out which one's my favorite. We're definitely not short on options from Playmates Toys, and I'm grateful for all of the representation that they've given to Leatherhead throughout the years. But one of my biggest hot takes when it comes to Ninja Turtles is that I've never actually cared for the vintage Leatherhead design. I just don't find it that appealing. 2012 Leatherhead is one of my favorite versions of the character. I especially loved his relationship with Michelangelo. But unfortunately, when it comes to his toy design, he definitely comes up short. But I can't believe it took me this long from a design standpoint to realize that he was basically just a one-for-one modernization of Mirage Comics Leatherhead, which is really cool. Down to the final two Playmates figures, you're probably already aware of my bias, but hear me out. I have no issues with Mutant Mayhem Leatherhead. I actually think she's one of the most underrated figures ever designed by Playmates Toys, especially when it comes to her articulation. And I think she is the best representation of the vintage toy design. But I waited my entire life to own a 2003 Leatherhead, so I have to pick him. Plus, he's the only figure from Playmates Toys that actually came with this nifty action feature. Mattel only has one dog in this race, but don't let that fool you. Turtles of Grayskull Leatherhead is an amazing action figure. And then we get to the big boys with the Leatherhead action figures from NECA Toys. Toon Leatherhead was objectively the best Leatherhead action figure I ever had in my collection for the longest time, so I'm not ignoring that when it comes to picking my favorite. But, however, this is where we're going to have to circle back to character work, and I've never cared for Leatherhead actually being a villain to the Ninja Turtles. I much prefer it when he's an ally. Stump Wrestling Leatherhead is my most recent addition. I love the paint and sculpt work on this figure, although I do have a few issues with the anatomy design, and those are the nitpicks that I have to take into consideration when choosing if something is #1 material. But oh boy, when we want to talk about a grand slam of a figure from a design standpoint, we have to talk about Mirage Comics Leatherhead from NECA Toys. I love the paint and sculpt work on this figure. It is beautifully detailed. It has awesome articulation, even all the way in its tail that you can see like that, and yeah. He even comes with an alternate head portrait that just gives him so much more personality. Do you need an alligator with an eye patch for an action figure? No. But is it badass? Absolutely. So all in all, these are my big three for Leatherhead. I'll give third place to Playmates, I'll give second place to Mattel, and first place to NECA. And all in all, I love the variety here. We have the original, we have something from the vintage toy look, and we have the best all-around adaptation, which includes him as an ally. Which Leatherhead do you think is the best? Do you think it's been made yet, or do you think that it's yet to come? And as always, if you like what you see here, can I be your TMNT guy?